wastelands of the internet, I have come. Once again, I have come to bring you the news. Yes, I am the Nomad. And it's been a while, mainly because I've been busy with Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. New Year's almost upon us as well. But we have news. We have news of the day, and well, news of the week. Now, some of the stuff might be a little bit dated, but we're gonna go ahead and get started anyway. All right, let's get started. Socialist protests erupt in Argentina as Milei implements austerity cuts in a scene that is probably a small taste of what is to come. Socialist activists and workers' unions carrying images of Che Guevara and Eva Perón converged on Buenos Aires to protest Javier Milei's impending austerity cuts. The cuts are part of Milei's sweeping economic measures that will erase or rewrite over 300 rules regulating and restricting private enterprise within the nation. Good morning, Sean. How are you doing? Deregulation, protesters say, will pave the way for big businesses' interests while reducing welfare programs and protections for the public. The protests are, of course, built upon a number of assumptions and are reactionary at best, given what Milei has been in office for a mere 2 weeks. All right, let's let's talk about this for a moment. To be honest, I'm surprised that these things didn't start first. Okay, the problem that these guys have, and let's take a look at this. You can see that this is a lot of people. They can gather a lot of little leftists. All right, because they fear monger about what's going to happen, and quite frankly, some of the fear mongering has some legitimacy to it. So what do I mean by that? It's going to cause problems. People have been on the government dole down there too long. And the reality is when you force change upon these people, they will be upset. The protests and angers from the leftist elements within Argentina illustrate the numerous pitfalls of allowing socialism to be rooted within a country for any length of time. Though Milei's opposition often argues that Argentina has never truly been socialist, the government policies that have been in place for decades certainly are. It's a classic far left deflection. Whenever a socialist government or economy fails, they'll claim it wasn't real socialism. Rinse and repeat. And they're exactly right. How's it going, Nimble Horse? Welcome, welcome. So, in Argentina, you have austerity measures being promulgated. Why? Because Millet understands something that most of the world still doesn't understand. He's looking at the world and says, when it comes to where we can underwrite our debt, there is really, when it comes right down to it, only one nation that's been underwriting this bullshit for decade after decade after decade, and now they're running out of money. They're running out of money because of the socialist dream in America. Americans are looking around going, we're spending too much money overseas. And he's seeing us, and he's seeing the reaction in the United States, and he understands all this crap that has been bullshitted out by people going, the U.S. is only 25% of the UN's budget. Only 25% of the UN's budget? Really? Oh, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. If we pull out of the UN completely collapses. If we're only a quarter of the UN, and the U.S. pulls out of the UN and everything collapses around it. How is that possible? We're only a quarter. The U.S. economy has been underwriting this bullshit for frickin' a long time, and a lot of people have been on the frickin' the U.S. government's tit for a long frickin' time, and now the weaning has begun. And this guy is totally right about trying to ramp up our internal economies prior to this happening so that we can survive. Because the only other two nations, right, that have been writing these checks are not financially stable either. And that's Russia, because Russia is in a massive war for them. It's a nasty war. It's using up a lot of their resources, a lot of their time. Now, before somebody sits up there and goes, oh, it's crippling them, I want you to understand something, folks. People don't know this. But when it wasn't Russia, when it was the Soviet Union, over 50% of government spending in the Soviet Union went directly to defense budget. Okay? Now, defense is wasteful. Always has been, as far as monetary goes. Because when you're in a war, you're killing people and breaking things. How much more waste do you need? And when you're not in a war, when you're actually at peace, you're preparing to break things and kill people. That's what it's for. It's total waste in the sense that money is going out of the economy and it's not coming back. It really isn't. When a tank gets destroyed, okay, it's got to be replaced. If that tank cost a $1 billion, I'm not saying that they do, but let's say we're just going to use this. That's $1 billion, and you lose 300 of them. That's $300 billion. What do you expect?
I don't know.
Welcome, Batman.
Hello, no nuts.
How are you doing this fine blustery day?
Yeah, still alive.
Still alive?
Yes. I blame Matt for that.
You blame Matt, Mr. You blame Mr.
Yeah.
Barkley for that? He's not even in the chat.
Yes, I blame Matt Barkley for that.
Let's
Even though he's not in the chat.
let's get on to the next story. Oh, it's Arkeen. Welcome, Arkeen.
Arkeen!
You ready for the next story? Oh, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't moved some stuff over here so you
are you
can
going to stream for us?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you in a moment.
I never knew you cared.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sean.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yay! Is that what you said?
Yes, I said yeah.
Oh, it's one of those kind of things. Can you see it?
I can now.
Okay. Let's get started on the next story, shall we? I think we shall.
Yep.
Okay, where are you at? There you go. Jail hell. Putin's enemy Alexei Navalny, excuse me, found in a horror polar wolf prison after vanishing from his hellish gulag 20 days ago. Kremlin's top critic.
So he went from the frying pan to the fire, basically.
Well, either the frying pan or the ice cube. I don't know. I don't know how
the deep freezer, the meat locker.
Yeah, jailed Russian opposition leader 47 was found in one of the toughest prisons in Russia, in Siberia,
That's
known as
something.
Known as the Polar Wolf Colony. His spokeswoman said. All right, Navalny, who has suffered from serious health problems in jail before disappearing, was tracked down to the IK-3 penal colony in Karp, about 1,200 miles northeast of Moscow. All right, Kira Yarmsh.
I'm serious. When they say it's a tough Russian prison, then they're not kidding, because we know how hard the Russians are. I mean, yeah, you get detention in a Russian school, and not many kids make it past that.
Well, that's right.
Yes, you're detention, Alexei. You're going to the gulag in Siberia, where
Um.
you will do your 12,000
Now,
lines.
now, this guy is he is a critic. Okay, I want people to understand that. And he is a political prisoner.
Yeah,
Okay, he's not a good guy
you
though.
must.
Okay, I want people to understand this. No, this guy is not. This guy's not Mother Teresa. Okay, I just want people to
He's a
understand that.
politician. He's a politician. He's after political power. Nobody who's after political power is a good person.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if you're doing it for political,
I'm not saying that they're all bad people. I'm not. No. Don't get us wrong. I'm not saying that all politicians are bad people, but none of them are good people, unless it serves them.
Well, it depends
If you
on.
understand what I mean.
I do understand what you mean, but there are people who went into politics unwillingly, and those people are few and far between. I understand that, and it does
Mm-hmm.
not apply to Navalny. Okay, I agree. Okay,
I
but
think
this
it's
guy
Navalny.
is being this guy is being brutalized. Let's be perfectly frank.
You notice
Now,
that? Hold on. You notice that picture that guy's holding up there?
yeah, this one.
That looks like Christopher Eccleston. It does, though, doesn't it?
I don't think that the Moscow's gotten to the point of running around just trying to capture.
Doctor Who.
What? Uh, but no, look. It's good that the guy's still alive. All right. I don't know. Okay, I don't know really how the difference is between a gulag and a prison colony is in this regard. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what I mean by that is the gulags were normally types of work camps,
Yep.
but a prison is a prison. It isn't a work camp generally. Now I don't know if that's how they view it, right? So I don't know how whether or not if there's a difference without a distinction, right? Whether a work camp is a work camp, no matter where you are in Russia, I don't know. I've not been in a Russian prison, thank God.
I think, yeah, I think there were different types of gulags. Some of them were work camps where, yeah, they were sent out and they were logging and, mining and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And other ones, they were just sent there to basically rot.
Yes. So.
Yeah, the guards didn't. I remember seeing a documentary about somebody who'd been in one of those places and managed to escape. One of the things he said is, yeah, in the gulags, if the guards don't kill you, the wolves will.
Wow. Was he talking about the other prisoners' wolves, or was he talking about regular wolves?
Those big dogs that run about in the woods.
The dogs. Okay. All right, let's get on to the next story. Maduro displays Venezuela's sea and air power near Guyana in response to the British warship.
Why does he look like Saddam Hussein?
He does look like Saddam Hussein, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Declaring the visit of a British warship to Guyana an intolerable threat, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro on Thursday launched an impromptu military exercise in waters close to its neighbors, aiming to show sea and air power amid a border dispute between the two countries.
Hold on. The Isle of Wight has more sea and air power than any fucking South American country.
Well, Guyana has literally nothing. Okay, I want you to understand that.
It's a South American country. I mean, they've got 5 guys and only one of them is allowed to have the gun.
But Guyana is part of the British Commonwealth. Remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it still is.
I think it is. Right. While providing few details about the extent and duration of the exercise, the Venezuelan military said that its initial phase included the participation of about a dozen war vessels, including gunboats, supply ships, and twice as many seaplanes, all right, including fighter jets in the Gulf of Paria, all right, west of Trinidad,
Yep.
in
I
front
think we've
of
got.
the Orinoco Delta, west of Guyana.
I think we've got somebody who wants to talk about this paraplegic Olympics.
Oh, somebody wants to talk about. Well,
Yeah, particularly his favorite one, I believe, is the paraplegic hurdles team.
Fuck you.
Are you
Fuck
are you
you.
commenting on the poor man's on the poor man's are you pounding your leg, or are you pounding on the desk? Which one is it?
The desk. The desk. My head on my desk.
Welcome, Sixer. Hail Hydra.
I hate you, Batman. I was really trying hard not to laugh. Really trying.
Yes. Yep. You are easier to break than a socialist's fantasies.
That's pretty easy.
But not for some people. No, imagine.
No, certainly in England, that's for sure.
Oh no, this is not just the. I started the stories with
Terrible.
Argentina, they were already protesting the austerity measures that haven't even been implemented yet. All right, with pictures of Eva Perón and good old
wait till
Evita
next year.
and Che
British
Guevara.
You're not seeing as Argentina's having such trouble now, economic trouble. You know what I would do? I would actually, I would actually send aid to the Falkland Islands. Yeah, financial aid. Yeah, build them better homes and give them better food, and it generally increases the standard of living. Just so it really winds the Argentinians up.
Oh, love that. Well, he's planning actually. He wants to try and take it over again. He's planning.
Well, he can't.
But he's going to try. Well, considering what's happening over here, we're kind of severely weakened and compromised. I'll say he has a good chance.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys, because in dealing with this story for Six or so, if you look at the video, the story is about Venezuela.
Yeah. Right.
Flexing
he does look like Saddam Hussein, doesn't he?
Flexing against Guyana. Guyana is a member of the British Commonwealth. Right?
Oh God!
And they're flexing because they want to take over the oil industry there. Okay.
Yeah, because their oil's crap.
Well, it's not just because their oil's crap. It's because they actually let Western advisors into Guyana, all right, and they're producing far more oil already.
So he thinks he's going to steal it, so take it all. But then once he's taken it all, you think he's going to be able to produce the same amount it was when under British rule?
Oh no! If he took over the field, even.
Yeah, but I was saying,
even what Batman's saying is true. All right. First of all, the oil in Venezuela, it has one of the largest known oil reserves. Hey, Vash, welcome.
Hello, Vash.
Hello, Vash.
Hello. Venezuela has some of the largest known oil reserves in the world. Even it's comparable in size. It's comparable in size, actually, to Saudi Arabia.
Well, I mean, America is going to be having to spread its liberation very soon.
Liberation? What liberation?
What liberation?
We're going to give them a taste of freedom while we take their oil reserves.
You mean
you're losing your freedom like the rest of us?
You mean you're gonna Mr. Biden's gonna spend billions of your own tax money to help them like they did with Ukraine and everywhere else?
That just sounds like pure literacy.
Yeah.
America, where instead of
Fuck
kicking you
yeah.
in the ass, we're going to give you Hershey's candy bars.
Hey, the way
America, you're fucked.
the way things are going, yeah, your country's in as bad a state as ours.
Yeah, I thought we were bad.
You're going to end up being renamed. Hold on. You are going to end up being renamed the Union of Soviet Socialists of America.
However, saying that, when Labour wins the election, and they will surpass the stupidity that America has.
They're not going to because Labour's lost a lot of their. A lot of Labour MPs have resigned. The Muslim ones, yes, have resigned. The Muslim Party.
Doesn't mean that they're not going to win.
Don't worry, oil reserves freedom is on its way.
So, but my question here,
you used them all, didn't you?
My question.
What you mean? Iceland's invading?
No. But my question here goes back to the fact that this is a British Commonwealth, all right, that is being threatened, and he's serious. People got to understand this.
Well,
this idiot is serious about trying to invade Guyana, and
once over, British forces would be sent there to bolster the locals.
Well, how would that affect your election?
Not too sure. No, they'll help in Venezuela.
But that's my question,
you
though.
See, all of the British forces are just going to smile, and then that's going to make them run away.
Like Joe Biden, lots of bluster, but nothing behind it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, once over, the British forces would be sent there on exercise.
Well, they've already started
forces. These days, they won't do that because it might be seen as being racist.
Well, you guys put up warship there. That's the whole point. You guys did go there and then dock the warship. Well, we put a carrier.
It'll be like.
I want people to understand.
It'll be like supporting Israel.
I don't think so because the United States, we didn't play games with this when this first was announced. We did put a carrier in the region. We did sit up there and send a carrier group there. We're off the coast of Venezuela right now. And it is doing a quote-unquote exercise with the Dutch and other British forces. So
I think what we need to do is we want to take over Venezuela, and just to make sure that real Western interests are preserved, we want to take out Argentina as well.
Yeah.
Make Argentina British again.
Absolutely. I should turn that into a hat again. Next to the make America British again.
Argentina was
undiscovered.
Argentina was never British. Okay.
No, actually it was.
It was.
No, you're right. It wasn't British. It was English.
That's it.
I prefer my idea. My idea. Make America undiscovered again.
It was not part of. It was Argentina ever part of the Commonwealth? No. Okay, so it's not British.
You never said it was part of the Commonwealth.
I'm not saying you guys didn't beat them up repeatedly, especially when they were under the auspices of Spain. All right. Are we ready to go to the next story, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Seems you want to change subject very quickly. All of a sudden.
I think we beat that one into the ground. I'm going to cry. Yes, Eurostar cancels all services, leaving 30,000 passengers stranded in London after tunnels were flooded as New Year's plans for the romantic Paris nights out, skiing trips, and family holidays to Disneyland are ruined. Eurostar has canceled all of its services for the day, leaving 30,000 furious passengers stranded in London. Okay, first of all,
you know who else is furious? All the illegals trying to cross it.
Okay. What is Eurostar?
It's a train that goes through the Channel Tunnel.
Okay.
It's called a Eurostar.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the tunnel is flooding. Is that what's happening? Yeah. The tunnel is flooding.
Yeah.
Apparently, but what people don't realise is Eurostar is not its real name because before the Euro bit, there's the three letters MAN.
Also, can we talk about this? Daily Mail, stop having this many goddamn ads. What the fuck? Can we talk about that?
Wow! Don't you sound like a spoilt, privileged American?
Oh, but I agree with him on that one because Daily Mail are a bunch of assholes anyway. So, yeah.
I can understand like one column on each side being ad space. These motherfuckers did 2 columns on the right side, 1 column on the left, and it's got ads in the middle fucking area. Like, what the shit? I just want to see the ad. I just want to see the fucking article.
Do you know my opinion of the Channel Tunnel being flooded?
I would like to hear you.
Huh.
Yes.
I wish it was the major area. I wish it was the major route for the illegals getting into the country, and they got caught.
Well, I was just saying that the people are also going to be upset about the illegals crossing it. But okay.
Well, they're not crossing at the moment because the channel
it's flooded. Yeah.
No, the channel.
The channel itself, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The seas are not conducive for crossing in a dinghy.
Well, can I?
No, but they'll wait till the summer again.
Is it really just a matter of time before the channel completely floods?
I hope so.
I hope so, me too, yeah.
I was against it in the first place.
Hey, Maddie, come on in if you want to.
Happen.
Go on in, Maddie. We need an intelligent person in here.
So who do we got? I can't say anything now.
What are you gonna know? You're going to talk about intelligence. I think we left that at the door.
I shut up immediately.
We've got like 3 brain cells between the 4 of us.
I at least I admitted to it.
Great.
At least I admit I'm a retard.
I thought it was a single. I thought it was a single brain cell that we kind of share, like the fates share in the eye.
We're all having the same brain cell.
We've got one guy here who laughs his head up at the thought of a guy in a wheelchair.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Don't you think so?
If I only had a brain.
He could while away the hours conversing.
Are we ready for the next story?
What's this then?
Gunman opens fire in a Prague university, killing 14 people in the Czech Republic's worst mass shooting.
Right, who are we echoing off?
So, sorry, what was that again? Sorry.
It's the Czech
in Prague.
Yes, in Prague.
Prague.
Right, we're echoing off Sixer. Hello, Maddie.
Welcome, Maddie.
Hello, Maddie.
Sixer, you got a bit of an echo coming through, just to let you know.
Well, you had a bit.
How's that?
That's much better.
Yes, much better. Okay.
I moved the microphone away from the speaker, but I'm probably too close to the speaker.
Now I'll start again with the.
And it's pronounced Prague.
It's pronounced Prague.
Prague, yeah.
Okay, Prague. A student opened fire Thursday at a university in Prague, killing at least 14 people, officials said, and injuring more than 20 in the Czech Republic's worst mass shooting. The bloodshed took place in the philosophy department building of Charles University, where the shooter was a student. Prague Police Chief Martin Vonzrek said the gunman also died. Authorities said his name has not been released. All right, Vonzrek said.
I bet his name had something in the middle like bin.
I don't think so.
I believe that they just need more prayer in schools.
Is it also with lard as well?
Yeah, it probably didn't like pork products.
Yeah.
What makes you? What makes you say that?
Because that tends to be the usual suspect.
Yeah, certainly over here.
Yeah,
they need to study the Bible more.
The Bible, yes.
We need to let Maddie talk.
Huh? Oh, I'm just
in
listening.
Spanish.
No. All right. Here's your quota. Buenos días, todos que están aquí hoy. There you go. Now that you've had your whimper.
Kapla.
Now do it in Japanese.
Can't do it in Japanese. Ohio! That's about all I know.
You were about to say silver at the end of that, weren't you?
So the philosophy class, were they philosophizing upon the meaning of life before he started shooting?
Yeah.
42.
No, they were asking the question: if a bullet is fired in an empty library, does it make a sound?
No. You see, he just got really sick and tired of the motherfucker next to him just saying, why?
Well, I don't think this guy has been, right? The police said that the gunman killed his father earlier Thursday in his hometown of Houston, which is just west of Prague, and that he has also been planning to kill himself. He didn't elaborate. I have a feeling that this guy was
Okay.
not a suspect.
Well, we won't get those virgins then.
This is where I get to utter my PSA. Prevent murder, suicide. Start with yourself.
Yeah, this guy was obviously so far out of his tree. He lived in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, I say probably hoping to get his 72 virgins or something.
I don't think that that's the. I don't think that that's the issue. All right, I think that this guy.
Really?
Just,
Sure.
The reason I'm pointing this out though is there are some serious rules against guns in Prague. I mean, I don't understand how they. I thought you guys were completely safe and there's no mass murder.
Criminals always find a way. They don't follow
We're
the
not
rules.
in
They
Prague,
always
so
find
we
a way.
wouldn't know.
You
Yeah,
see,
where there's a will, there's a
point.
way.
That my point.
If they want to kill someone, they'll find a way.
I mean, it's horrific. I hope pray for the families and so forth for this. I mean, it's a disaster, but the thing is these things can happen anywhere, and mental health is a problem worldwide. It's not just a problem in the United States.
Mental health is a problem that is growing.
Yeah.
It's because of the increased stress of modern living.
Well, people are putting stress on
There's a
themselves.
direct link. No, there's a direct link to the increased stress of modern living.
Well, people are putting they've lost prioritization capabilities, and they're not being taught true critical thinking.
What's that? That's endangered, along with common sense.
No, critical thinking. That's where you think like one of those chirping insects.
I mean, let's face it. Nowadays, they're not educating kids on anything, and the parents are raising entitled brats. I mean,
yeah, who can decide to be whatever they want. You can be a butterfly if you want. And you don't have to do lessons. You just have to flutter around the classroom.
Okay,
it's become ridiculous.
Let's get on to the next story. We ready to go?
Oh, look, California.
California, yes, California. You're right.
How Silicon Valley is fueling California's budget crisis. Really? I thought California was it's pretty much the golden goose here, isn't it? California was on an
covered in shit, literally.
California
if Lex Luthor was real, I would actually gift him one of those nuclear missiles.
California was on an economic sugar high during the COVID-19 pandemic, thanks to a booming tech industry. Now, how does that correlate? I'd really like to know how the booming tech industry
lockdown, more people at home who want to communicate with other people or do their work at home. So
more taxes on the revenue that they were getting for selling all the equipment for people that were literally shut-ins because we were forced to stay in our homes.
Yep.
Okay. Now it's dealing with the crash. The state has swung from nearly $100 billion budget surplus in 2022 to a record $68 billion shortfall projected for the next year, a gap larger than most states spend in 12 months.
It's because there's a Democrat in charge. They like to spend shit, but they don't know what a budget is.
Yes,
there's a lot of people they don't know.
They think a budget is a small bird that lives in a cage.
Yeah,
it's probably an endangered species, so they probably want to protect it.
Let's face it. If we spent money like Gavin Newsom and like our esteemed, and I say that with all the sarcasm in the world, our esteemed senile senior in chief is spending it, we would all be in jail for fucking check fraud.
Ah, yes, the cadaver in chief.
No, the senile senior in chief, Ninny.
He'd be that if he was actually alive, Maddie. He's a zombie.
All right, such a dramatic reversal of fortune, produced a tax structure dependent on the wealthiest residents and a boom and bust tech industry. threatens the policy goals of Governor Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has no policy goals. Okay, he's running for president. He doesn't give a shit about California. He never
American
has.
Psycho.
Let
Real life
me
American Psycho.
let me remind everybody this is the same state that did a recall vote to get him out of office just to vote him back into office. This is
Get
not
what you
the
fucking
brightest
deserve.
state in the 50 contiguous states.
Well, I'll say to that then, you get what you fucking deserve. You vote him back in again, you get what you fucking deserve.
What has happened is when the people voted that jackass back in, people started fleeing the state. All these high income people left the state.
Yep.
Amazingly, as a surprise to the and you got to understand, California is the most populous of all the states within the United States, and yet now it is losing seats in Congress. All right, because it's not because it's not growing like as fast as the other states. It's literally shrinking in population of U.S. citizens.
Yeah, the only people that are going to be left in California before long are going to be homeless people in surface.
Yep.
Well, you'll have the super rich and whoever sits up there and toadies to them.
Mows the lawns.
You know,
You can have the
really
super rich and the Mexicans.
All right, and they have
and the ones that serve their toilet
and they have no one. They have no one to blame but themselves. Maddie's completely right about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like I said, you vote him in, you get what you fucking deserve.
I mean, I agree with Sixer. You voted your problem back in. You wanted to get rid of him, but you voted the fucker back in. I mean, it makes no damn sense. Why have a recall vote to begin with if you're just going to vote the problem back into office?
Yeah. I mean, look at the state of California. Shit on the streets. Diseases that have not been seen in the Western world since medieval times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
hey! I'll have you know that
let me finish.
some of those diseases are after the
Please.
California is basically India with American accents.
Oh God, bloody hell, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Rash, go ahead.
You're not wrong. I was about to say, I'll have you know, some of those diseases were after the Dark Ages. We haven't gotten plague yet.
I didn't say the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I said medieval times, and yes, you have got bubonic plague.
We have that in Arizona, by the way.
We had that.
And you have leprosy.
Yeah.
And just to add on to that, you have all the shit on the street, and you got a government who won't clean up unless Xi Jinping was visiting.
You don't understand.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked up.
Sean,
Cleaned it up and put a load of Chinese flags over it.
Sean,
and the moment he was gone, the shit is back on the street. I mean, why?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Sean. I'm not discounting cheating, but the thing is the people in California, if you ever travel there and talk to those people, they are insane. The vast majority of them have. I can truly believe that they voted him in strictly along those lines because they are that friggin' stupid. They don't learn from their lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they are now crushing. People don't understand why they're being crushed right now. Okay, Gavin Newsom put in a policy for truckers that is just absolutely. The trucking industry has been crushed in California, and it's spiraling down out of control. Maddie, I'm sure.
What's one of the major professions in California? It's acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actors are people who they get paid to play make believe.
They're not actors. They're adult pretenders.
Hold on. They're paid to be children.
Yeah, what's that? Adult pretenders.
Yeah, they're children.
Yeah.
Yep.
Children don't learn from the mistakes. Adults learn from the mistakes that they made as children.
Well, you can tell which actors aren't with the current rhetoric and ideology because those are the ones that are having a hard time finding jobs.
Chris Pratt.
Oh, he's not the only one. Yep.
Well, one of them.
I think Mel Gibson's having a problem finding jobs because he has eternal foot and mouth disease when he gets a couple of drinks.
Well, he has a lot of problems.
No,
Yeah.
Mel English hating Gibson.
He does hate the English. That's true.
Yeah.
He is.
Well, you should go well with Joe Biden. Then you should get on well with him.
He's a weird guy. He's unique, but he's a weird guy. He's got some really interesting beliefs. Right. One of the things he wants to do from a religious standpoint, one of the things he wants to do is bring back Latin Mass. He wants all masses in the United States in Latin.
One of the things he wants to do is to find every single copy of the original Mad Max movies and destroy them.
It wouldn't surprise me. All right,
No, he hates those films.
on to the next story.
Okay.
Ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen says he unwittingly sent an AI-generated fake legal cases to his attorney.
Accidentally, my ass.
Dum da dum dum.
Can you smell bullshit?
Can you smell a similar excuse to that guy who set off the fire alarm?
I'm trying
Yeah.
to.
This is like accidentally on like 4 different fucking layers.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's one-time personal lawyer and fixer, says he unwittingly passed along to his attorney bogus artificial intelligence-generated legal case citations he got online before they were submitted to a judge.
He got them online. You mean he didn't check his sources?
Oh, twat.
Well, the
What a
lawyer.
twat.
The lawyer is just as bad because if he got it from this idiot and then said, "Here, we'll just give it to the judge and see what happens."
Stupidity knows no limits, unfortunately. I mean,
Actually, stupidity does know a limit. Unfortunately, that limit is when you die.
well, yeah, I'm still kind of torn as to,
Oh, you're going
if
to
you're
stupid
dumber
in
than
a
the
limit.
person before you, are you raising the bar on stupidity or lowering the bar on stupidity?
Oh, I can go one
Yes.
better. Sadiq Khan. Now, there's stupidity.
All right,
No, actually,
Cohen.
Manny, you're standing there looking at the bar of stupidity and scratching your head.
Cohen made the admission in a court filing unsealed Friday in a Manhattan federal court after a judge earlier this month asked a lawyer to explain how court rulings that do not exist were cited in a motion submitted on Cohen's behalf. Judge Jesse
I think I
Furman
read
has
that.
also asked what role, if any, Cohen played in drafting the motion. The AI-generated
Wow.
cases were cited as part of a written argument attorney David M. Schwartz made to try to bring to an early end to Cohen's court supervision after he has served more than a year behind bars. Cohen had pleaded guilty in 2018 to tax evasion, campaign finance charges, and lying to Congress, saying that Trump directed him to arrange hush money to a porn actor or actress, I'm sorry, all right, and former Playboy model to fend off damage in his 2016 presidential bid.
And stuff like this is why
Stormy.
once you leave the United States, you find any respect for Americans diminishes rapidly.
Well, the case
Stormy.
the case that they're talking about, right, is absolutely media generated. And the reason I say that is not because I'm some great legal scholar. I'm not. But the reality is Trump
But he
had
plays
been
one on TV.
paying off bimbos, okay, for decades before he ever thought about running for president. Okay,
This is true.
I believe it.
right? He has a record of this. So to say
Oh,
that he
yeah.
was only doing it to shut
He's
her
proud
up,
of it as well.
Yeah, Trump's record with bimbos is one of the reasons why Bill Clinton's so jealous of him.
That's very true.
Seriously.
Severe case of TDS with that lot, that's for sure.
The
What,
university,
Trump stick syndrome?
the university's
No, but I will
FDR
accept that.
dilemma: why campus leaders cannot confront anti-Semitism. It's an opinion by the Hill. It should be interesting.
Oh, I remember that.
What an op-ed. How lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was wow. I watched that.
Yeah.
I watched that dumpster fire.
Early in World War II, President Franklin Roosevelt learned of Nazi plans to systematically murder European Jews. Later, advisors urged him to order the bombing of rail lines leading to Auschwitz. He rejected their pleas. Actions to prevent these murders, he responded, would turn the war into a campaign to save Jews, and in doing so, undermine American support for the war. All right, let's stop with just that for the moment. All right, go ahead.
What?
That made my brain itch. Thanks.
What?
Doesn't surprise
What?
me.
Okay, I need to make some comments here. First of all, they were telling Roosevelt to directly order direct U.S. action as if he's somehow the military commanders. The military commanders, all right, were not going to bomb the rail lines to Auschwitz. Okay, why? It's real simple.
Ooh,
If they're and this is going to
if you bomb the rail lines
Oh.
going to Auschwitz or anywhere else, you're cutting off your own supply lines.
well, that's
Not just that.
that's the point. All right, if one
You're
of the
actually
things
you're also you're actually endangering the lives of the people who are being transported to those fucking death camps.
well, this is going to sound like brutal reality, but it is brutal reality from a military perspective. The Germans were spending resources shipping Jews to those death camps, all right, that they could have been
Yep.
using to ship ammunition, men, and supplies to the front lines.
Yep.
And the
Mhm.
reality is the guys who were fighting on that front lines. Yes, I understand that the effort to try and quote unquote save the poor Holocaust victims, and they were being brutalized. The problem was they understood, the military at least understood. Yeah, we could do that. It wouldn't make a bit of difference, all right, to these people in comparison to what it's going to mean to the troops on those front lines.
Yeah, the other thing being that if they couldn't get them to the death camps, they would have killed them somewhere else.
Well, that's my point.
Mm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so to say that okay, this was going to do this, could some of the Holocaust victims have been saved? Sure, there were a few. Would it have? How many men would have died then as a result trying to fight against the Nazi war machine? Okay,
More,
and
many more.
and I seriously doubt the numbers. It's a brutal military equation there. Okay, are you trying to win the war or not? All right, and so what I find objectionable about this piece is that they come back saying, "Well, look at what his advisors were urging him, and he was telling them no." Can you? This goes back to the days of the commander in
That's the thing.
chief
Hold on.
making direct actions about here's your target. We're going to decide what targets, all right, to select from the White House. Can you imagine the damage that does? If you can't,
Yeah.
there's something called the Vietnam War. I suggest you study it.
Nomad,
Yep.
Nomad. It would have been all of his advisors. His civilian advisors would have been advising him to do that. His military advisors would have been advising him not to do that.
Correct. Right, and they would have
That makes
The
sense.
joint, those cooks that work with him, the joint chefs of staff.
and so his
Oh,
point was his point it, FDR, and I'm not a huge FDR fan, folks, but FDR's
No,
point
you like
about this would turn it into a war just to save the Jews. His point is you're taking away the reasons we have to go to war. It isn't just about the Jews. It wasn't that, oh, no, America's racist and we don't care about saving Jews. That was not the point. It also would have affected the fact because there was something that he could have done, right, that he refused to do. He refused to go to Congress to allow him open up immigration. And he refused to do that, which is basically sentenced those people as an escape route to come to the United States. Roosevelt is not completely, innocent here, okay? But if he had done that, if he had said, okay, well, let's talk about this and tell it to the American people, then he had to admit the fact that he kept the immigration closed when he could have saved a lot more of these people that were trying to flee the Nazis before they even, came fully to power and started implementing the quote unquote final solution.
MC, I'm gonna have to drop out now because I gotta get ready to
All right,
get moving. All right, you take
enjoy.
care. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right,
Enjoy,
take care.
Sixer.
Bye-bye.
Don't see me
You're
before.
welcome.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you all. Have a bye.
That's for Danya.
That's for Danya. And click.
Stealing my fucking lines. I blame you for this, Nomad.
Oh, you blame me? Okay. Let's get on to the next story. What to watch in Friday's spending report. Inflation closing in on the Fed's target.
What inflation? We're not supposed to be having inflation.
Easing price
We're not supposed
pressures,
to have an inflation problem.
easing price pressures, and rallying markets have Americans feeling better about the economy.
Right.
Where?
No,
In what fucking dimension?
no. That's what's making Americans feel better about the economy is all the narcotics they're putting in the water supply.
In what edition of the multiverse?
It's
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I
against
can
the
imagine
Geneva
Roland coming
Convention.
home
for one.
with an 18-wheeler, right, Maddie,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to be full. You know, what's going to be full of
Hmm.
his week's pay because inflation's that bad.
Inflation retreated further in November, and consumers picked up their
Uh-huh.
spending as moods improved. It's called Christmas spending, folks.
Yeah, and
Right.
panic buying.
Economists surveyed by the Wall Street Journal estimate that the core personal consumption expenditures price index, which excludes volatile food and energy categories, rose by 0.1% in November from the previous month, a slowdown of 0.2%, right, in October. That would be the
They're
slowest
cooking the numbers.
rise since August. In other words,
They,
inflation's still rising, but it's under control.
they're cooking
Right.
the numbers because normally they discount the rise in spending this time of year because of Christmas.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I
They're
think that
just trying to make the shit
It
look
went
good.
up 1%,
Point
as opposed to what was last year's. Can you tell us that? Can you tell us can you tell us the previous last years of what the inflation was during
Right.
during this time?
I have no
Right.
idea.
Because
Well, we were
I
still
can't.
under
probably,
Biden, so you know.
Go ahead.
if I was a betting man though,
Yeah.
yeah, we've had this all the time, and it was
Yep.
probably higher than 1%.
The thing is how long have they been preaching about inflation slowing down?
Oh.
Oh
Months.
God, yeah,
Ever
and
since
I look at
Biden got into power.
what's funny is I still have a picture of gas prices in around, I think it was 2019, and it has like almost quadrupled since then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bad. It's very bad, and it's not getting better.
I
It goes
I
down for a
it
short
was like
period of time, and then it comes back up.
$1.76,
Yeah.
like $1.76 to $1.60 per gallon.
It's like we're deliberately trying to turn the West into into the third world.
Well, there's a war. He declared a war on energy. People forget this. This is Biden's economy because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to
Yeah.
declare war on fossil fuels, and he did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also all the problems also started because whether they were good policies or not, the first thing that Biden did was reverse everything that Trump did.
Yep.
Let us not
Yeah,
forget that. Whether it was for the better or for worse, he reversed
and
everything that
and
Trump did, including the prices for for prescription medicines and medicines
Yep.
that diabetics need and
I
so on and so forth.
I remember that, Maddie, and I also remember him saying while he was signing those, "What are these?" And then the person that was beside him just saying, "Just sign it."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on video.
Yep.
Yeah, my name's Joe Biden. I've got no brain cells.
I mean but I don't. Okay. This is what I'm going to say about Biden. I don't like his policies. I don't like the fact that he's a Democrat, but something in me feels for him because they allowed him not only to run, but they voted him into office knowing that he was mentally deficient. And I'm not saying that as a joke,
It's because he's a puppet for Obama, allegedly.
No,
allegedly. But I mean,
Obama was a puppet.
I'm not saying that as a joke. I mean, the whole campaign, it was sad. I mean,
You're not
yes, there
wrong.
were funny moments because of his gaffes and his mental decline, and everybody
True.
knows that he's got some form of dementia. Okay, parading him around like that and now pulling his strings now that he's in office, to me, it's elderly abuse. He should have not been pushed into the position. He should have not been told to campaign. He should have not been. They
Indeed.
should have found another candidate because this is elderly abuse.
It's
That said, every single decision that administration, notice how I went from one person to a group, that administration has made has only furthered the decline of this country.
Yes.
I don't think we should have let Maddie on. She's being sensible and intelligent.
What
My
the
chemo
fuck,
brain
Maddie?
hasn't
Stop
kicked
being
in
base.
Sorry.
Yeah, and another thing is, I don't care what country it is. If you're the leader of any given country, that is the most stressful, aging job in that country.
It is.
It's actually
Yes.
killed people. Yeah, being leader of a country has actually killed people before.
And when you have any
George
form of dementia,
Washington. A
when
lot
you
of
have
people
any,
don't know George Washington died right afterwards.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and he-
Maddie. Go ahead.
and if you have any form of dementia or Alzheimer's, it is exacerbated by stress.
Yeah.
So we're watching him get worse the longer he's in office.
Oh yeah.
I don't think
wife
I don't
doesn't
think
care.
that there's any possibility of him getting worse now, considering that he Roombas, he falls upstairs,
Free
he
Rubas.
Salutes the
I don't
Marines.
know. There are things that he has done that I don't see as physiologically possible, but somehow he's done it. Damn it!
Look,
Oh, we
the,
need a
the,
we need a Biden
the
quote. Give me
problem.
a second here.
There's a lot of Biden goes you can go back with. All
Ah,
right.
here we go.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
That
Yes.
pretty much illustrates it. Yeah.
But
And
do you
the
notice
sad
in
part
that clip-
is that,
Hold on. Did you notice in that clip?
Hmm.
He said, "America is a nation that can be defined in a single words."
Yeah. And then he blubbered.
Yeah.
As if it's
Yeah.
and the sad part is that's not taken out of context.
No, it's not.
Wasn't the one where he was he was giving a speech and obviously reading off the auto cue and the speech in front of him, and he actually said turn the page.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's times where he said, "I'm going to call upon this list of people, and I'm going to be answering these questions, and I can't talk out of turn, otherwise I'll get in trouble," or some shit like that. And it's like, wow, Mr. President, who the fuck is above you that
Right.
you would be in trouble by?
Yeah. And the only thing the media does is come up with excuses.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I
I remember the stereotype of the American president being like, "All right, my fellow Americans, we are going through this tough time," and then like SEAL Team 6 comes up, "Mr. President, we have the chopper ready. You need to go out now." No, I am addressing the American people. God damn it, and I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop whenever I say to stop. Now you can hold that fucking chopper, like that type of shit. Whatever happened to that president?
That's
Whatever
the
happened
difference
to
between
kick-ass America?
that's the difference between strong leadership and the idiot that we have in office now.
Yeah, I remember when Ronald Reagan was in France giving a speech, and there were rumors about his mental health deteriorating, and he started the speech with "My fellow Americans." You see this aide coming up to him. "Yeah, Mr. President, we're in Paris, France," and Reagan just give him this gotcha look.
Reagan was quite an interesting person. I mean, we went on alert.
I mean,
people don't know this, but
Reagan's-
when I was in the military, when Reagan was in, and we ended up going on alert because he stood up there prior to an actual press conference, said, hit the mic like this. "Is this thing on?" "Okay, as the President of the United States, I've just declared the Soviet Union illegal. We are now at war." And and the Russians were like, "What?" they went full bore. I'm not joking. They went full up. It was like, oh my god. And so for the next 3 weeks, we were on high alert in Europe, all right, because of that.
Back in the 80s, the puppet show Spitting Image was malicious with Ronald Reagan. I mean, there was a storyline going in Spitting Image called "The President's Brain is Missing," where Ronald Reagan's brains escaped and is touring the country.
Well, he did suffer from dementia, all right, especially after
Yeah, but
the assassination attempt. And
he knew what was going on with him, and he joked about it.
Yep.
he did, but at the same time, going through that and being
Mhm.
as because you can say a lot of things about Reagan, but the one thing you can't say is you can't say that he wasn't a patriot. He was. All right. And that's really what you need as a president of the United States. You don't need people that don't give a shit about the country. If their priority
Yeah,
is
Right.
just themselves, all right, if they're not patriots, they should not be in that position. It's the difference.
I
It's the
liked his.
difference between Richard Nixon, not a good president, and Bill Clinton, an absolutely horrific one.
I liked Reagan's views on defence. His idea on defence was you warn the women and the children, you get the wagons in a circle, and you lie low.
That was the old days. Let's move on to
Yeah, I
the
know
next
it was a joke.
story. And a bad one. Woman
Made me laugh.
sues LA, says her husband sent nude photos of her to a coworker. He's a cop. So is she. 1 year after
Oh
a
wow.
Los Angeles police officer was charged with 6 misdemeanor counts of allegedly sending sexually explicit photos and videos of his wife to the LAPD colleagues and other men, the woman, also a police officer, is suing the city of Los Angeles. The woman's lawsuit, filed Wednesday, charges the department with sexual harassment, whistleblower retaliation, and failure to take all reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment and retaliation. She seeks unspecified damages.
I think that this was like some locker room talk, and then like the dude was like, "Yo, check out my chick, man. She's fucking wild."
Anybody's
And then, like,
if anybody's liable to be sued in this, it's not LA, it's her husband.
yeah,
But he's a city representative.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
This
does.
is a
It does. This is the United States.
civil case.
This is
I
the
don't
United
care.
States. If you're,
I
if
mean,
you,
I will agree with Batman on this one, but I think she chose to do this because it was like it was
More
going to be
money.
a bigger payout. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. This is a civil
Sean,
case.
down, Sean, down.
There is a cutoff to when you're a representative, and when it's a private matter. This is a private matter. This is between her and her husband.
Not anymore, because he was sharing it inside of the government offices.
No, but he was sharing it with
But
his
if
friend.
it was literally anywhere else, it would have been a private matter.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you.
Even if they were civil servants.
Let me. But he did it within the public and used the public means to do this. I don't
used
disagree.
his cell phone.
I don't disagree with you. But if he used a cell phone, it was provided by the
No.
city. Then yeah, it's not.
By
It's
the
no
way,
No,
longer.
he probably. Okay, now that's putting into question whether or not he bought his phone.
Which he more than likely did.
Yeah.
He used a cell phone. It would have been his private property. The guys who received the photos would have received them on their cell phones, which are private property.
I don't think so. I think
his status.
I would venture to bet that all these things were purchased by the departments for their officers.
I doubt it.
I don't. All right, I could be wrong. All right, but I don't think so, because just knowing how they do things in these government offices and stuff. Now, Maddie, you've been awful quiet about this. I'm kind of curious what your view on this is, because I haven't really given my view. I've been playing devil's advocate here,
Badly.
but poorly. Maddie?
No, badly.
All right, Maddie must be.
Maddie, what's your thoughts on this?
She must have noped out for a little bit.
Give me a second.
Okay, so she's noped out. So I'm going to give my viewpoint on this right now. All right, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind here is this woman.
Actually, can I address Sean in the chat there? He's saying that she can't take responsibility for her actions. They weren't her actions.
Her actions are
Seriously.
being.
Well, I mean,
They
recording
could probably,
sexy videos and
hold
sending
on.
it to him, probably.
Yes, to her husband. That's a private matter. That's not somebody not taking responsibility for their actions. She's angry at her husband's actions, but she's suing the wrong person. Just for what you said, Vash, because it's going to be a bigger payout.
Okay. I was downstairs and mom's watching like football. So.
Oh, okay.
What? Not
Uh,
Americans to see rugby.
Anyway,
my 2 cents is does the article state whether or not the phone was his private phone or whether the phone was his work phone? Because
No,
we know
it
they
does
give
not.
work cell phones.
It does
Okay,
not.
so since it does not, we're speculating because
That's true.
I agree. If it was his private phone and he's sending it to other cops on their private phones, then it is a private civil matter. However, if he's using taxpayer equipment to spread these photos out, it now becomes a taxpayer issue, which elevates which court it goes to for the lawsuit.
Yeah, but he's got naked photographs of his wife, right? Let's just say we're assuming she sent them to his phone. She wouldn't have sent them to his work phone. She would have sent them to his private phone,
Yeah.
and that way, yeah, he's got the guys in the
What if he
locker room.
only
They're his
has one
friends. He
phone?
probably knows they. Hold on. The guys in the locker room, they're his friends. He'll have their private cell phone number on his phone. That's where he would have sent those photos.
Not if he only has one cell phone.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I
Now
doubt it.
listen to this. Listen to this complaint. All right. The complaint alleges that Lamas 46 passed around sexually explicit photographs and sexually explicit videos of his wife to other LAPD officers. My own husband is a predator, and he preyed on me, and I have preferred that he had punched me in the face. She wrote in applying for a restraining order against Lamas. Okay, honest to God, when I read this story, the first thing that came to mind that made me wonder about things was this happened a while ago, years ago, right? You're not divorced yet. I think that this is a scam by her and her husband to intentionally get money from the city.
No
Well, what's
shit.
the date on this article? What's the date on the article?
She originally came up with the explicit images in January of 2021. The date on this article was 2 days ago.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Why are they still fucking? Yeah, I can see that because I would have just divorced the asshole.
Oh, I mean, he's a predator and he preys on me. Look, there's way too many motherfuckers that are using the word predator way too goddamn much.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
Ugh,
Well, I mean,
You're right.
he was fighting a
boo.
literal predator, though.
He was fighting Nancy Pelosi. Let's be honest here.
I mean, fair enough.
Let's switch gears a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Mouse, along a symbol in copyright wars to enter the public domain. It's finally happening. All right, this is from Variety.
Oh
Yeah.
Dan O'Neill was 53 years ahead of his time. In 1971, he launched a countercultural attack on Mickey Mouse in his underground comic book Air Pirate Funnies. The lovable mouse was seen smuggling drugs and performing oral sex on Minnie. All right, as O'Neill had hoped, Disney sued him for copyright infringement. He believed it was a legal parody, but after 8 years in court, he was saddled with a judgment he could not pay. To stay out of prison, he agreed to never draw Mickey Mouse again. It's still a crime for me, O'Neill said, 81 years old, in a phone conversation from his home in Nevada City, California. If I draw a picture of Mickey Mouse, I owe Walt Disney $190,000 fine and $10,000 more in legal fees and a year in prison.
I've got to do this. I've got to do this. Okay, Minnie, you better swallow, you bitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie will enter public domain on January 1st. From then on, Disney will no longer enjoy an exclusive copyright over the earliest versions of the character. Underground cartoonists, filmmakers, novelists, songwriters, whoever will be free to do whatever they want with them. Mickey Mouse has long been a symbol in the copyright wars. Beyond the practical impact, the expiration 95 years after his debut in the short film Steamboat Willie is also a major symbolic milestone.
Oh golly, no more lawsuits.
Okay, I have some comments.
Oh golly, anybody can draw me now.
I have a problem with copyright laws in this country.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Mm.
and this goes for all of them. I don't think
Personally, I
that
hold on. I've all
Well, let MC talk.
Sorry.
Come on.
I think that one of the problems with copyrights is it's a bastardization that was based on an old mentality and an old time frame technology. And the reality is now it's outdated. And the reason for this is the reason I'm comparing this is if you take a look at what a patent is. If I patent a device, I only have exclusive rights to that device for 7 years unless I ask for an additional 7 years due to the and this is the only reason that you get the extra 7 years is if you can prove it took time to ramp up your production. All right. After that, you
it's
don't have any rights to any of that. Well, then why
yeah.
is it okay? Why is it then that copyright should be treated any differently? And the reason had to do, all right, if you go back to the time period, the reason it had to do was the cost of publication, the cost of distribution was so much more than what it was for the production
Yeah.
of a device.
Right.
All right, so that's why there was a differentiation specified. Nowadays, however, the cost of distribution and production is damn near non-existent. Okay.
There's another one as well. Steve Ditko's family, right? Been trying to get their hands on Spider-Man. He goes. They say Steve Ditko created Spider-Man. It was his intellectual property. It wasn't. Steve Ditko was being employed by Marvel Comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
He created Spider-Man as part of his job,
Right.
right? He was paid for this idea to come up with ideas for characters, right?
Okay.
And that means that the characters he created didn't belong to him; they belonged to Marvel Comics.
Right.
Jack
Okay.
Kirby, on the other hand, he produced stuff and then sold it, like the New Gods, the Eternals. He produced them and then sold the rights to use them to Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the difference lies. But Ditko, was basically producing this as part of Spider-Man as part of his job.
Right. But when it comes to copyrights being for over 100, like 99 years or whatever it is, that's how long you can keep a copyright. These things now have to be updated to adjust for the fact that production, all right, is and distribution are no longer the barriers that they used to be. And in fact, I think that they should match specifically all of this stuff should match specifically with going away from copyright to just patent. It's a patent one way or another, and that's really all it should be. Now I realize
Well, what
that is
annoys me
not
about
a I realize that's not a popular thing, but the reality is technology has changed to this now. All right, your ability to recoup and recover things, all right, is so much. For example, what's the cost of downloading a movie? It's almost nothing now because it's the cost of the electrons and
what do
pushing.
you mean almost?
You see my point. I could spread it worldwide.
Yeah.
The
Here's
distribution
one that
techniques
annoys.
now no longer match with the copyright laws.
Yeah, here's one that annoys me about Disney. If anybody who isn't Disney, produces a film about Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, or most egregious of all, in my mind, Alice in Wonderland, or Winnie the Pooh, Disney will try their damnedest to take them to court. These stories don't belong to Disney, though. Especially, like I said, Alice in Wonderland and Winnie the Pooh.
Well, none of them do. They come from stories as they were written. But once again,
Yeah.
the problem today though is technology has made the reasoning used for copyrights being 99 years for recovery. Okay, those things have changed now. Okay, those reasonings have changed. So why should
Mhm.
this stuff be copyrighted forever and ever and ever when everything when a guy who comes up with the newest widget, like the newest, let's say the newest flying car, for example, he only gets 7 years plus another 7 years. You see my point?
Uh, also, yeah, well, I can understand individual copyright for individual authors because it's how they make their money.
Right, but the way they make their money has now
Uh,
changed. Their audience is now far
no,
broader
no,
immediately.
the way they make the money hasn't changed. The medium on which they make their money has changed.
Well, that's part of the way they make their money, dude. Maybe you can't
No, it
divorce
isn't.
that. Yes,
They
it is.
they still make their money by creating a character or a fictional world, writing it and publishing it. That hasn't changed. Just the medium has changed.
Well, the publishing of it though, the cost of
That's
publishing has
what you
changed.
just said is like saying. Hold on. What you just said is like saying that Ronan's job has changed because now instead of a normal truck to do his deliveries in, he's now got a flying truck.
Yeah, his ability
His
to
job
increase
hasn't changed. His job hasn't changed.
no,
Just the medium
well, his ability to do the job
that
is
he uses.
would be greatly enhanced, right?
Yeah, but it still doesn't change his job. It's
Okay,
still the same job.
and he invented the flying car, right, which made things much better, much more.
I didn't say he invented the
Let's-
flying car. I
I'm just
said if he
using this
had
as
to,
an
if
example.
he
I
was,
understand that, right? I'm trying to point out the fact that the idea of copyright laws staying as long as they are, all right, that 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 had to do, right, with production and distribution, and now production and distribution of
why
copyrighted
don't
materials like songs, copyrighted materials like movies, copyrighted materials like art. All right, all of that has changed now. Okay,
why
if
don't we
you
ask
don't,
somebody who actually look, why don't we ask somebody who actually works with that sort of stuff? Maddie, what's your opinion on copyright?
Well, okay. My opinion on copyright is the fact that, it's if a person spends their blood, sweat, and tears to create something and get it copyrighted, they should be able to claim it as their own without having it stolen and used by somebody else. However, as far as the internet's concerned, it's muddied everything up, and people have had to do the fair use stuff, and they've had to add an order to the copyright laws to say that, like when I take a picture of something that I do and I put it on Twitter, that is copyrighted to me, but with the current laws, if Elon were to come around on my timeline and decide that he wanted to use that for any of his things, I can't say anything because it's his platform and I posted it on his platform.
Yep.
Which, I don't agree with because it's my intellectual property, but
Yeah.
I'm absolutely powerless because that's the way the world works now. And
Whereas
now
if
what?
I saw on Elon's platform and decided to use it for my purposes, you could come down on me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, I would. Well, first I would have asked you not to, if you could take that down because, that was mine and I
Yeah.
did it. But I mean, it's different because you're a friend of mine. If somebody were to come along and take, if I was an artist and somebody were to come along and take all the artwork that I posted on my timeline and feed it, let's say, to an artificial intelligence, I would not consent to that. Okay, don't train like as a writer. And I'm gonna say it now, and if I have to put it on my website, I'll put it on my website. Do not use any of my stories to train artificial intelligence. I consider it an insult. I'm sorry. It's my work that went into it. It's my imagination. It's my hours of looking at it and editing it and making sure the continuity is there. That the names of the characters didn't change because I suddenly had a chemo brain moment and forgot that and Ellie was Thomas. And I got to go back and change all that. I don't want my finished works and my unfinished works fed into an AI in order to train it.
Well, but
Because
how
to
is
me,
that?
that's an insult.
How is that any different than somebody who sits up there and makes a widget that is then used for purposes that they don't approve of? For example, right? Somebody makes a widget, right, that is now used in a weapons platform, and they're total pacifists, and they're very upset about it. All right, how is that any different? See,
It's not really.
and that's my point. If we have established patent laws, all right, for a reason. All right, why? Because overall, people are better off after 14 years of this opening up to allow for even more exploration, for more things that can come out that people can then build upon that. Okay, to say, well, wait a minute here, someone's building upon something that I thought of, all right, and I don't like the direction that these people built on it. Well, welcome to reality. All right, that's like going back and saying, well, I don't want my buggy whip to change. Okay, it's the world changes around that, and the world is better off for that. It not necessarily you. All right, there's a lot of things that people invent, like the glue for frickin' post-it notes. Okay,
I
that
think you're stepping away from what we're on about.
well,
Uh,
but it all
it's
comes down
it's
to the same thing. How the fact that you're treating intellectual property, whether a guy invents something, that's his intellectual property as well. Now, to say
yes, I
I
agree, but
did this and claiming it, that's a different story. To claim authorship of
you're
something is something different. But and that goes to plagiarism and everything else. And I agree with that. That citation is important. That giving credit where credit is due is important. But the ideas that you can't do anything with what I have put in the public domain, whether it's something that was an invention, or whether or not it's something else, such as I came up with this new formula, or I came up with this new way of talking about computer languages and everything. To me, it all wraps around to the same thing. It all can be classified as intellectual property, and it all should fall under a single rubric.
yeah.
Hmm.
Once it's in the public domain, yeah, fair enough. You can't do a thing about it.
And-
But
and-
what I was on about
And Nibble Horse
was
merchandising.
what I was on about was yeah, you've got this intellectual property. Somebody else uses it and makes money off it. They're stealing off you. That's the outlook I was having on
After
it.
14 years, well, you can look at it that way, but after 14 years, basically it's public domain. That's how it should be.
I just said in the public domain, fair enough, you can't do anything about it, but well, it isn't.
Well, like I said, for 14 years, you should be able to recoup any kind of thing that you put into public as intellectual property in 14 years. Now, if it's something that's not in the public domain, let's be honest, the internet has put all this stuff in the public domain for the most part. Okay.
But you know, Winnie the Pooh.
Now, if it's been put in the public domain illegally or through other means that you didn't agree to, that's a different story. Okay, but
you know, Winnie the Pooh and the works of Tolkien aren't in the public domain.
Winnie the Pooh isn't in the public domain.
No, it's not.
What do you mean? You're going to tell me the books were not published in the public, and they're not available in the public?
It's not in public domain. It's still under copy. I believe the copyright or the rights to.
But that's what we're arguing about.
Let me finish. It's still held by A. Milne's family. The same with the Lord of the Rings.
I hear you.
Yeah, they're licensed out because it's the families that own these are making huge fucking profits over them.
Right.
Which
That's why I'm arguing about this. That's what I'm arguing against, to be honest.
Yeah, if I create something like, hold on. If I create something like that's just as good as Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that I keep the intellectual property. And
I don't disagree with you.
And can bequeath it to my family.
Right, but that's because
I die.
But the reason you believe that today is because the way the laws are currently written, you want to sit up there and grift off of what was put together for reasons that no longer exist. You want to use laws that were put in place, okay, with a different mentality in mind due to the fact that we didn't have things like the internet.
You might be right. The other problem is with this argument with you and me, Nomad, we come from that world where these laws were
That's true.
That's
That's
still
true.
valid.
That's true.
To a lesser extent, so does Maddie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
But she's still a sweet, innocent young thing.
Yes. All right. Let's go on to the next story. Scientists explore firing nukes millions of miles into space to stop a catastrophic asteroid.
Do you know my opinion on this? The way the world is now, just land a space shuttle on this giant asteroid, put some booster rockets into it, and just speed up the destruction.
Let's get this over with. Is that what you're trying to say?
Fire the thing at Hawaii. That's one of the most unstable points on the surface of the Earth. That's going to cause a worldwide extinction event.
You'd really want to do it at a plate. You don't want to do it at the hot spot of the.
Yellowstone then. We'll fire it at Yellowstone.
That's a different story. That could create some interesting dynamics. All right, scientists are exploring whether they might save the Earth with a plot from a science fiction disaster movie. A study released this month.
Bruce Willis has Alzheimer's now.
A study released this month investigated whether a nuke could be shot millions of miles into space to prevent a catastrophic asteroid from wrecking the planet. Researchers with the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories developed a modeling tool that could assess the possibility on the heels of a 2020 mission from NASA, which successfully misdirected a giant space rock. The new tool, detailed in a planetary science journal, helps scientists understand if another option could be at their disposal after NASA deployed a kinetic impactor, in this case a spacecraft, to knock out the 2022 asteroid off course during a double asteroid redeflection test, or DART mission.
Yeah, they've got to be careful with these because most asteroids, even the big ones, aren't one single solid mass. They're usually like a very tightly packed cloud of smaller things. So you try, if you're not careful, you might try to knock it out the way, and instead you break up the cloud.
That's true. That is one of the things, is a conglomerate. But overall, the thing I get about this is no shit, really. Of course you would want to do something like that. Now, whether or not it's effective or not depends upon a lot of factors. All right, how much can you nudge it? Where can you nudge it to? All right.
It depends. It also depends upon how far, how early you nudge it. If it's far enough away,
right,
you can just nudge it a couple of degrees, and that's going to be more than enough.
Oh yeah, just a couple of mils, and even you can do it. Now, it also depends upon the size of the asteroid, how the impact actually takes place. All right.
Yeah, but you nudge it off course. You've also got to calculate where the new course is going to take it, because it's still going to come back.
Well, that is a
problem. And
problem.
you've got to hope that when it comes back, it's not even more dangerous.
Who are they going to get to fly a rocket or missile? Since they're busy dumbing down Americans. Well, see, the positive part about that, Sean, is the dumber Americans get, the more likely it is you're going to find a volunteer to jump on the board. I'm not wrong.
He isn't. America is getting spectacularly dumb now. The rest of the world, the rest of the Western world, is very close behind.
Screams without words.
And the next time I see somebody using the word of instead of have, I'm going to find that person. I'm going to travel to their home, and I'm going to beat them to death with their own keyboard.
Getting a little vicious. Screams without words. How Hamas weaponized sexual violence on October 7th. How isn't using violence as sexual violence a weapon anyway? How did Hamas just come up with this?
Been.
Okay, I hate
it's
to put
always
this
been. I'm forgetting who it was, but there was an English king during the war with France, told his troops that when they left, they were to leave an English bastard in every French woman.
a, uh, a f- at first, she was simply known as the woman in the black dress. In a grainy video, you can see her lying on her back, dress torn, legs spread, vagina exposed. Her face is burned beyond recognition, and her right hand covers her eyes. The video was shot in the early hours of October 8th by a woman searching for a missing friend at the site of a rave in southern Israel, where the day before, Hamas terrorists massacred hundreds of young Israelis. The viral video, all right, was with thousands of people responding, desperate to know if the woman in the black dress was her missing friend, her sister, or her daughter. One family knew exactly who she was. Gal Abdush, all right, mother of two from a working class town in central Israel, who disappeared from the rave at the night with her husband. Okay, these are horrific things that,
What?
definitely,
Yes, they are.
definitely have happened. Okay, and this is, but it's not. Hamas did not invent this. Now they are using it. Don't get me wrong, and they're using it to terrorize other people. All right, and they're doing it intentionally. And this is what you're dealing with all. And I'm going to be real blunt. The vast majority of the Palestinians are in full support of this.
Yeah, the thing is, so that October 7th, yes, they were all Israeli citizens there, right? But there was quite a few of them that were ethnically Palestinian. Yeah, Palestinians that had accepted Israeli citizenship and fully supported Israel. They were killed as well.
Yeah. The reality is that you're dealing with, when they talk about trying to get rid of Hamas, and I look, I hear people talking about Hamas is the problem. No, Hamas is not the problem. Hamas is a symptom. Hamas is a symptom of a group of people who have no mental qualms, right, about engaging in this
Yeah.
kind of barbarity, supporting this kind of barbarity, and cheering it on. And that includes a lot of these assholes that you see in Twitter, or excuse me, X nowadays.
You're not wrong. You're preaching to the choir here, Nomad.
All right, it's a real serious problem when people cannot understand what war is like. If you want to know what war is like, there's a video series coming out on YouTube. All right, um, from
War is a
World War II perspective of, it's diaries of World War II perspectives of the Germans and the Japanese soldiers and sailors and so forth. And they just go through these people that have written diaries of what their experiences were like. All right, and you can listen to these guys as they talk about going from the start of the war to the end of the war and what these guys went through. And one of the guys, okay, was on the Eastern Front most of his career fighting the Russians, and then one of the things he talks about is their unit's attempt to surrender to the Americans, to escape the Russians, just to surrender to the Americans, and what people were going through. And it is frankly heartbreaking, and it is absolutely horrific. And if you don't think that that can't happen again, all you got to do is take a look at what's going on and what these people are supporting, because they don't think it'll ever happen to them.
It always happens. It always will. And that's a horrible thing to say, but it's true. It always happens. It always will.
And it was if I knew I was going to be on this stream today, I would have bookmarked it. I did not know because I'm slowly coming out of my depression, which is a good thing.
Good. Yes, it is.
So, but I saw, I think it was last week on Twitter, this war correspondent just completely blasting Cenk Uygur out of the water about what was really going on over there.
Oh, Douglas
and what
Murray.
had actually, yeah. He
Yes.
literally told him to step out of his bedroom and actually go to these places.
See, had the misfortune of encountering somebody who was intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is there's too many people. just average people walking the streets of America that have no understanding of what life can actually be like and will be like at some point going forward in the future for some unfortunate individuals. They're going to have to go through this kind of suffering because whether you like it or not, this idea of this la la land world that we live in is just a skin deep.
It's not only that. It's, for those of us that grew up Gen X and younger, okay, we know how the press and how the government that colludes with the press, because make no mistakes, the two of them collude, whether they admit it or not. And what comes out of these news outlets, whether it's the Hamas side or Israel's side, there's going to be some form of embellishment. There's going to be lies in there. There's going to be propaganda. We know this. So when we read these articles and what's going on over there, we read these with a grain of salt and heavy skepticism. It's not that we know, it's not that we deny that it's happening. It's not that we deny that October 7th happened and everything that happened afterwards happened. We know it happened. But we know what's coming out of there and what's being reported through the media and what we're reading through the media needs to be taken with a grain of salt because both sides are going to embellish to make themselves look good and the other side look bad. I'm not saying Hamas looks good under any circumstance. Don't get me wrong. But we know propaganda and how it can sway people. And these new generations, with their lack of critical thinking and their lack of skepticism, just swallow these things hook, line, and sinker. They don't do any research. They don't try to get to the bottom of anything. They don't try to talk to people that are actually there to find out what's going on because this is Twitter. You're inevitably going to bump into somebody that's in Israel. You're going to bump into somebody that's on the strip. And find them, talk to them, get the actual story, what's going on. No, they don't want to do this because they're too damn lazy. They have TikTok brain and they need to be spoon fed everything and they believe everything they're being fed.
Maddie, you're 100% right, but you didn't have to say critical thinking. You just had to say thinking. They don't think.
No.
Yeah, my internet farted. But Douglas Murray, hold on, Douglas Murray, he took apart Cenk, not just by his arguments, but by using his calm, because he never raised his voice. He kept himself calm, and he used that to goad Cenk into just becoming a screaming massive hysteria, which is always beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Well, just a terrifying concept to me, real quick. Did you know that 30% of adults get their news from TikTok?
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yep.
See, the first time I ran into this whole lack of skepticism and critical thinking is when I was actually doing the news and politics, and I would have friends, my lovely friends, tag me into anybody that was pro Fidel Castro. I woke up one morning, opened up my I woke up one morning, opened up my phone. I was in the truck with Ronan at the time, and I remember because I started giggling, and Ronan said, "Did you find something funny?" I said, "No, it's not funny per se, but it's finally something I was tagged in that I don't have to participate in." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, this pro Castro person, I was reading the thread. This person jumped in to tell him how shit actually happens and how shit actually works in Cuba. And when this little snot said, "Oh, I bet you don't even live there," the guy came back with, "I live in Camagüey. Tell me I don't know what's going on in my own country."
Oh, it's like I've been told on live streams that I don't know what's going on in England because I'm obviously not English.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're from some backwater state, a backwater flyover state, aren't you? Listen to how I talk, you moron.
Right.
No, but my biggest problem is when people and look, we all want to have a peaceful world, all right? But there comes a point where you have to understand that horrific things happen, all right? And
Yes.
not only can you not do anything about it, but you've got to sit up there and help participate in it at times. And
That's the worst thing.
and that's
Nomad.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's terrible. But this attitude of people, right? And Mad Dog's talked about a friend of his who committed suicide because he'd been in Iraq, and one of the things that he that happened to him was this woman, when they were doing a patrol and they were looking out, came out of a building, right, holding a toddler in her hands, and they they drew down on her, but they didn't do anything, and then they turned their backs to her,
Mhm.
basically because they took their eyes off her, because they said, okay, that's obviously a non-threat. She then pulled an AK-47 and opened fire,
Yep.
killing his buddy, right? And of course they had to sit up there and fire back, and they ended up killing her and her child.
Yep.
Okay, and he has to live with the guilt, not only of killing her, not only of killing her child, but also the fact that his inability to react appropriately in that situation got his friend killed, and the guilt along with that. And the guy, he literally couldn't handle it, unfortunately, all right, and he ended up committing suicide. And this is what war is like. But there's a difference, and a large difference, and there should be a demarcation difference between people, all right, who go out to do that, to kill women and children, innocent women and children that aren't a threat to them in any way, shape, or form, versus having to respond now in that situation. And if you can't see that difference, grow up, because you're not doing anybody any help. These are the people that backdoored us. Look, you can argue, and I use this term. You can argue about why we were in Iraq or why we shouldn't be in Iraq after the fact that we're already there. But while we're on the ground fighting, shut the F up. Let us get done
There's
what
a
needs to happen. You can complain, you can bitch, you can do all these other things, but if you're truly a patriot for this country and you're looking out for what's best for everyone as a whole, once you engage in combat, once your nation is engaged in combat, shut the hell up, and then you can deal with the recriminations later, because all you're doing is making the life harder for the people who have to suffer through what's going on right now to do
Yeah.
otherwise.
Well, it's like, back in Vietnam, I think when my uncle, my mom's oldest brother, came back from Vietnam, they knew that, it affected him greatly, but it took him a couple of years, a long time, for him to tell them that the one thing that affected him the most while he was over there was watching 4 of his buddies get blown up by a 6-year-old as the kid pulled the pin on a grenade after he was
Yep.
faking not being able to tie his shoe.
Well, the Irish did the same thing. The IRA, sorry, did the same thing with kids during the Troubles. They used
Oh,
kids as shields. They used kids to carry bombs. God knows what.
Well, it's
Oh,
like
and by the way,
in high school when we were talking about when the Vietnam War came up, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, well, our soldiers were baby killers." I said, when those self-same babies are pulling pins on grenades and throwing grenades at our troops and shooting at our troops, are you still going to call them baby killers? Because it becomes us or them at that point. You don't know
yep,
the whole damn story.
yep, and don't make a comment about how the Viet Cong were doing the same. Were literally
Mhm.
killing babies because they weren't their people.
They were training children to fight.
No, they were actually killing babies of non-Viet Cong villages.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you got rid of that newspaper that you had up there, because that newspaper turned a friend of mine into a screaming lefty. Nomad.
Okay, I wanted to bring this up, and this picture here. This picture is very famous, all right, from the Vietnam
Yep.
War. Okay,
Mhm.
now people are screaming. What's the first thing that starts getting screamed about? All right. Oh, Geneva Convention, they're just summarily executing people. What's really going on? How can you do this? How can we support this? Okay. Do you know the story behind this? Does anybody here know the story behind this picture? The real story?
No, but I would have looked into it if I'd ever seen this picture.
Okay. Well, this is a very famous picture. I mean, it's widely spread, right? This guy had snuck into a bar, right? had planted a bomb and had blown up a bunch of soldiers. Now, he is in civilian clothes. He was not acting as a soldier, all right, just attacking soldiers. He was just killing
He was
people
actually
that were
he
in
was
a
a
bar.
terrorist.
Okay,
He was a terrorist.
and what's more is he's acting as a spy, because this is what spies do. The Geneva Convention has no standing on what you do with spies. Did you know that? That summary
Actually,
execution.
it does have a standing.
What-
Exactly. That's the Geneva Convention standing. Spies are subject to summary execution.
And yet this was brought to America under the auspices of, look at all this bad things that are happening. Look at what we're supporting. We should have been supporting that. It's something we should have been supporting. This kind of activity can't be allowed to stand. Now, I'm not saying
You know what would have made that picture better? You know what would have made that picture better?
The truth.
If it was Jane Fonda.
Okay, but you
I bet Henry Fonda thought that. Well,
but do you
we
understand
just
my
lost Maddie, and she's back.
but do you understand my point?
Yeah. Oh, perfectly. Yeah.
Anyway, ready for the next story? I think we beat this one to death.
Yes, this newspaper turned a friend of mine into a screaming lefty.
Panic in the
Then we
Arctic.
lost Maddie again. Then we got Maddie back again.
Well, I keep popping in and out because my mic isn't working. Okay, it's working now.
Yep, it's working now. I can
Yes,
definitely
it
hear
is.
you. Right. Panic in Arctic as mystery fire breaks out on Russian nuclear ship.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, a blaze on the. I'm not even going to attempt to break that name. Broke out as the vessel was berthed at a high security dock with no injuries reported. One the local posted, I saw several fire units rushing there and an ambulance. Another message read, shall we leave now?
Several.
All right, thank you. Is there anything from the authorities? No update. It would be too late to run given what kind of ship this is. Fires on board Russian ships are, I mean, isn't that kind of like a common occurrence?
Not as much as you'd think. Plus, it's a nuclear ship, right? Yeah, fair enough. But it's a fire on board. That's not going to cause a nuclear explosion. That's just going to cause a fire on board.
Okay, but as far as I know, this was basically built as it's a container ship, all right, that's key to undersea gas and pipeline work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I assume that it's probably one of
And the Metro's probably blowing this. The Metro's probably blowing this story out of all proportion because, yeah, that ship is basically in support of fossil fuel and worse, nuclear fuels, and the Metro's a lefty paper, a very lefty paper.
Is that the reason it's a big story?
To
me, this is like a non-story. It's like,
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
You should have seen the stuff they should have seen the stuff they put out about Trump.
Oh, I can imagine.
No, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah,
I have
apparently, according to the Metro, Donald Trump has murdered people, and he has a YouTube channel where he brags about it.
Oh Lord.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Trump's. All right, I'm really not.
Yeah, but people believe this, Maddie. That's the problem.
Well, they believe all kinds of shit nowadays.
I mean, the lad I'm telling you about, he used to read it on his way to work because the Metro is free on public transport. And you just mentioned Donald Trump to him, and he goes off on a tirade.
Look, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump's, but the Donald Trump is not. He's not the Antichrist. Okay.
Donald Trump, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, a blowhard. Okay.
An egotist.
But he's a well-meaning blowhard for the most part. Not always, but for the most part.
Yeah. And he's an egotist that uses his ego to get the right things done a lot of the times.
Yeah, but he's also a hedonist, and that's another problem that I have with him. Okay, I mean, let's be perfectly frank.
I thought he was a Christian.
That's not for me to determine. Okay, but Christian.
I love the evangelicals. I love 'em.
I love the evangelicals. I could never finish a whole one though.
Well, that's what he thought Stormy Daniels was, right? The evangelical that he was loving. Just put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Not so free love. Oh,
Oh my God. Okay. At
The
least
worst thing
4
Donald Trump
tunnels
ever
once
did.
led to Ocean Beach in San Francisco. Okay. When the San Francisco's Great Highway, which runs down to its western shore, closed to cars during the pandemic, it was a novel way to give pedestrians safe, easy access to Ocean Beach. But more than 100 years earlier, San Francisco leaders had the same idea and built permanent infrastructure that ran underground. There were once at least 4 pedestrian tunnels that led underneath the streets directly to the beach. Today, those tunnels are buried or destroyed. Well, then, wouldn't it be easy just to like reopen them, and dig them back out? We have the technology.
We have shovels in California.
And even better, you've got
Yeah,
illegal migrants to wield them.
You're right, Vash. We don't know if we've got shovels in California or not because there's shit everywhere.
There's shit on the street. I think that we would use the shovels for that first.
Yeah, but that
Like
means
before we
paying
try infrastructure on anything, I think we need to get rid of the plumbing problem.
That means paying people to go out there and show the shit up, and that
Well, they have an app. They created an app for themselves, the poop app. I'm not exaggerating this either. There is a poop app that shows where piles of poop are. Perhaps.
That is just disgusting.
Wow. So you can essentially play Pokemon Go, but with poo in California.
Yeah, it's Pokemon Go.
Here's another story. Are humans still evolving? Maybe more rapidly than ever, says a scientist. When did humans ever stop evolving?
It is entirely possible for a species to stop evolving. Apparently, Homo erectus remained unchanged for over almost a million years.
And then it went extinct. That's when it stopped evolving.
No, then it left Africa and commenced evolution again.
Yeah, it's often assumed that modern humans are no longer evolving, but there is now considerable agreement among scientists that evolution is still affecting our species, and this process is taking place more rapidly than ever before, one expert told Newsweek. Right, while cultural and technological innovations now appear to be the main drivers of adaptation for modern humans, this has not replaced biological adaptation, according to scientists. Really?
Can I stop you there for a second?
Sure.
I mean, for the longest part of our history as humans, we have evolved in adaptation to technology because our teeth, our mouths, our stomachs have evolved to eat cooked food.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's
much more difficult for us to get our nutrients from raw food than it is from cooked food.
Yes.
Another thing is the earliest modern humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're physically and mentally the same as us, more or less. They were the Cro-Magnons. They were larger than us. They were physically stronger than us. They had bigger brains than us. Scientists believe that we actually underwent the same process as dogs and cats and other domesticated. We domesticated ourselves. Seriously.
If you think that human beings are domesticated, right? Talk to any husband and ask him if his wife's ever been domesticated. Okay, the answer's not gonna. It's now. Women may believe that they've domesticated their husbands. I kind of doubt that one too. I'm just pointing this out.
Nomad. How many times has somebody been bitten by a pet dog, which is a domesticated animal?
That might be true.
Just because something's domesticated doesn't mean it's safe.
Maddie, would you say that
wild version?
Would you say that rodent is domesticated?
No.
Like rodent looks like a Cro-Magnon anyway.
Oh, thanks a lot.
He's large. He's physically imposing. He's got that hair.
You're just
Oh,
jealous
I mean,
that he has
that bear
hair.
has human clothes, Batman.
And yeah, don't let us get started on our host here. You know,
Here's
or as I like
another.
to call him, Ego, the living planet.
Here's another domesticated individual. College chancellor fired for adult video says it's free speech issue. No, it's a degenerate issue. You freaking
No,
degenerate.
it's porn.
Wow.
In
It's
2007,
free speech that I wanted to look at Pornhub, guys.
he was engaging in it. All right, when Joseph Gao was
Oh.
welcomed to his new post as chancellor of the University of Wisconsin La Crosse, he sketched out a wish for the future. In a few years, he told the alumni magazine, "I want people to be saying the same kind of nice things they're saying about me as I start." That guy came in, he showed us a certain way, and wow, he has stuck to it, and it worked.
Sure. How does that have anything to do with you making porn and posting it on the? I have more questions than answers, MC.
Gao stuck to his ways for 16 years, becoming the University of Wisconsin La Crosse's second largest serving chancellor, a role formerly called president. But on Wednesday, his tenure, all right, was ended abruptly when the University of Wisconsin's System Board of Regents unanimously voted to fire him after discovering sexually explicit videos. All right, Gown 63 had produced and filmed with his wife. In statements, universities
Ooh.
used language such as abhorrent and disgusted with the well, I mean, he was just trying to emulate
This would have been more.
the senators and their staff members, right? Isn't that
This
right?
would have been a more interesting story if one of the terms used to describe videos was anatomically impossible,
Talking about keeping it all in the family. Ooh, boy.
or even what the hell did he do with that
Well, I
stick of
mean,
celery?
now I'm curious. Like,
You want to see
what
what he did with
exactly is abhorrent? Like, what's
You want to see
so
what he did with-
scandalous?
Vash, you just want to see what he did with that stick of celery.
I mean, it's curiosity, morbid curiosity, man.
Maddie wants to go on to the next story, don't you?
Well, at least he's keeping it all in the family.
I'm still wondering how the fuck, like, that was free speech. It's free speech that I fuck my wife on this video and send it to whatever. Like, what?
OnlyFans, where
No.
they charged, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Was it She's a Porn? I don't know. I know she's a shit,
Ew.
but I mean, it's just I don't want to know any more about it. Anyway, let's go on to those stories.
Yeah, that is disgusting and abhorrent.
Florida sues Hershey for $5 million. A Florida woman sues Hershey for $5 million over misleading Reese's packaging that tricked customers.
Okay.
She was
Huh?
tricked by this treat. A Florida woman is taking the Hershey company to court, claiming it tricked customers through misleading packaging on Reese's seasonal shaped chocolates. Cynthia Kelly
Oh,
of
God.
Tampa is suing the chocolate giant for $5 million because she claims that the packaging and the actual contents didn't match. For example, the pumpkin-shaped chocolate does not have eyes and nose cutouts like the packaging suggests. All right, the football-shaped
Is she 6-year-old?
Oh
like-
my fucking God. It's a pumpkin, not a jack-o'-lantern.
I mean, she wants it to have eyes
looks like a
and
piece of shit.
things. I mean, it's just like
It looks like a
Well, I
little
mean,
shit.
I think you're getting more chocolate this way. I mean, I don't know.
she's upset that it doesn't have eye holes and bats and this little thing like the cut out pumpkins and so forth, or the ones that look like it. We were talking about football.
You know, I gotta say, I hope she wins.
I know.
This is as important as the Red Bull suing because it didn't give you wings.
This is proving that film Idiocracy wasn't a comedy movie. It was a prophecy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's gonna win. I think the ironic part is she is.
Yeah, she might. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. Come on. This is stupid.
And the
Right.
ironic part is I don't care.
Latoya Gladney, a 44-year-old manager in training at a McDonald's in North Carolina, told police that her employees were disrespecting her last night, so she called her husband to assist her. Investigators allege that Dwayne Wayden, 57-year-old church pastor, subsequently arrived at the restaurant in High Point. He chose not to turn the other cheek. Walden walked into the kitchen and began punching Theodore uh, Garrington, a McDonald's cook, in the face. Walden also allegedly wrapped his hands around McGowan's neck and began pushing his head toward the deep fryer.
Damn.
Before Garlton, 34, could be dipped in a hot oil, several other employees interceded, pulling Walden, seen at the right, off the victim. Garrison suffered a large contusion on his forehead and right eye, along with scratches on his neck. While EMS workers responded to the scene, Garland chose to have relatives transport him to the hospital. After the High Point Police Department officers interviewed witnesses and reviewed store security footage, Walden was arrested for assault. Bond was set at $1,000, and a January 22nd misdemeanor.
You mean bail?
Misdemeanor trial is all you're going for this guy? He's trying
Well,
to
he's black,
show
you see,
somebody
he's
into a fryer pan.
He was trying to baptize them, MC. Jeez, it's religious affiliation.
Yeah, this was definitely like no, Vash. Seriously, this was definitely a case of assault and battery.
Out, Satan, out!
Especially the battery bit. With 7 seasonings as well.
If your face is burning, then it's because you are of the devil.
Have the faith of Daniel. I don't think cooking oil is a normal medium for baptism, though.
I mean, there are holy oils. Like, maybe he blessed the oil and then, like,
Gonna say,
tried to do his thing.
It could be used for baptism, but not when it's boiling hot.
Well, he was just being really, really. He was wanting to speed things up. Nobody has the time. But
Okay, on to the next story. Woman busted for beating a man with a Christmas tree.
Damn!
This has got to be a Florida story.
I'll shove this up your ass, turn you into a fairy!
And it is St. Petersburg. Okay. Police charged a 22-year-old woman with repeatedly beating her boyfriend with a Christmas tree during a pre-dawn skirmish at the pair's Florida residence on December 24th. According to a court filing, Miracle Rivera, 22, and the victim, 24, engaged in a verbal altercation about infidelity, early on Sunday morning in the bedroom of their St. Petersburg home. Cops said that the victim separated himself from Rivera and relocated to a living room around 3:40 a.m. on Christmas Eve. Rivera allegedly followed the man into the living room where he was lying on the couch when Rivera picked up a Christmas tree and began to strike the victim repeatedly. The size of the tree is not detailed in the criminal complaint.
So I gotta ask this, Maddie. Whenever you're the only female in the room, so I'm gonna ask this to you. Whenever dudes leave to just kind of like think about shit and recollect themselves, why the fuck do women have to chase after them?
I don't ever chase after him. I wait for him to calm down and come back, and we'll continue the I am not your normal female. I don't know why females do that bullshit. It makes no sense to me. If he's
It's
gonna
just
walk
like
away to cool
how
off, let him walk away to cool off.
Yeah,
Don't
because
sit there and follow him because quote unquote you're not done talking to him. Bitch, the conversation is over for the time being until cooler heads prevail.
it's because
Yeah.
women don't have the on average don't have the cut-off points that men have. Two guys in an argument, they'll reach a point where they don't have to go any further. There's going to be bloodshed. So
Well,
most of the time they'll separate.
Yeah.
Guy has
Yeah.
that same argument with a woman, right? He
Right.
reaches that point and he walks away, and she follows him, continuing to fuel his fire
Mhm.
until he turns around and puts his fist through a window or a wall,
Mhm.
because he's most likely not going to try and hit her because he'd kill her.
Exactly.
I mean, and the other thing is like it's just like that one little stereotype I've seen of women where they will walk up to you and tell you to get out of their space. It's like, bitch,
Yeah.
I was standing here.
Yeah. See, I don't get any of that. All I know is while he was reading the article, the only thing that was going through my mind was 3 right hooks, 2 quick jabs, and a boyfriend in a pear tree.
Yeah. And the other thing is repeatedly beat him.
Mhm.
Like MC, if I'm correct, I'm quoting you on that real quick. It was repeatedly, so it
Christmas
was not
tree
just
and began
one
to
beating.
strike the victim with it repeatedly.
Yeah, it wasn't just
was
like
it-
she threw that shit. She was using it as like a club.
The
What
tree
was his
was not
son- was his
seized
surname?
as evidence, which makes you wonder.
Was his surname? Hey, hold up. Was his surname Hall? Yeah, because she's decking the hall with boughs of holly.
I mean, most certainly.
Stop assault trees.
I'm just wondering if there was a quote of like she's gonna shove that Christmas tree up his ass or something.
Okay.
Already been there.
2 stories left. All right.
Okay.
Escape dog goes on a run on a Wisconsin highway. A runaway dog was
With Whitney chasing
reunited
it.
with his family in Wisconsin after leading police on a chase on a snowy stretch of highway. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation that said its cameras first recorded a dog on the westbound belt line between Gavin Road and Whitney Way about 9:30 a.m. Thursday morning.
Whitney Way in Wisconsin.
I'm not sure I get that, so I'm just going to continue.
Oh,
bet the dog
unfortunate
did.
location. Unfortunate location.
A traffic jam ensued as emergency vehicles pursued the dog, who continued to flee. The dog was eventually captured safely and turned over to animal control. The owners of the dog, named Thor, said they were on a cruise in the middle of the ocean when Thor escaped while being walked by a neighbor 3 days before he found his way to the highway. Thor was later reunited with his family. I would have to ask questions about the neighbor. Did the neighbor report the dog missing? Just curious.
I mean, probably, and then the people just continued their vacation.
Well, I mean,
Like it wasn't until the police came up and was like, "Is this your dog?" Oh, yeah. I was so worried about him.
Well, if you're on a cruise, what are you gonna do? Hey, stop the boat! Turn it around! Let's get back home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Your dog escaped. Thor, where is he? Oh, we're looking for him. Don't worry, we'll find him. We'll find him. Okay.
I think he's
what,
back in Asgard.
what is he gonna do?
Well, he
Yeah,
had
I
a hammer
mean-
with him.
All right, we're having a blizzard out here. I'm not sure you're gonna be able to get here anyway.
He's playing in the snow.
I mean,
He'll be fine.
I feel sorry for the family, to be honest. I feel sorry for the dog, kinda. Damn stupid thing, should have known better.
No, yeah. How so? Oh, he's fine. He's enjoying himself in the snow.
Yeah. This is Homeward Bound, except Wisconsin edition.
Right?
Dog, I wanted to be on the boat too! You bastards left me here with this guy! Do you realize he snores at night?
Thor snores.
I don't think he's taking a shower in a couple of days either. He
Oh my
stinks.
god, I'm glad I wasn't watching the friggin' chat. Nimble Horse. Down. Alright, final story of the day. Beavers invade Arizona neighborhoods. These damn rodents are freaking everywhere.
This is where you need to phone Jim Cleaver's son. He'll take care of them.
Residents in the Phoenix area have noticed an increase in sightings of some unusual guests in their neighborhoods. Beavers. The Southwest Wildlife Conservation Center in Scottsdale said the most recent beaver sighting was reported in the Arcadia neighborhood of Phoenix, and rescuers arrived to find the animal gnawing on a tree. We don't have that many trees out here, folks. That's it. These doggone rodents.
But let's know.
It had almost gnawed through half of that tree by the time I got there, said Kim Carr, the animal care manager at the conservation center. Right? It was completely unfazed by the crowd that was forming around it.
Hold on. This beaver is gnawing through a tree. There's a crowd around it.
Uh-huh. That's our tree. What are you doing?
That tree's going to fall.
Only about 200 beavers are believed to live in the wild in Arizona. They typically stick to areas near major waterways. Carr said that the beavers were probably taking wrong turns in their native river system and ended up in the valley. They must have come in from the river systems because you're not just going to find a bunch of beavers living in Phoenix and dipping into the canals in and out. That's true. Phoenix is not known for its beaver pelts. I can tell you that. They may need to start, though, if that's what's going to keep happening.
It's also not known for its water.
No, it's not. All right. In fact, most of Phoenix is fed water from the Colorado River Project, which basically takes river water from Lake Mead all the way up north, right, and then down through canals and so forth.
As I understand it, the main thing that Arizona is known for is the resources that are used to make egg timers. Sand.
Arizona has two products: cactus, right, and we do have a lot of mining, especially copper,
and sandstorms.
We do get.
I was actually going to mention the cactus.
Yes, not as many as you. Not as much as you think. We get only sandstones about once every 3 or 4 years.
Because you get those big what is it, sequoias or something? The big ones that are traditionally used in cowboy films.
Saguaro. You talk about saguaro cactus.
Yeah.
Yes, saguaro. That's how it's pronounced. Not sequoias. Sequoias are a tree.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I actually said I'm not sure.
Yeah. Now, and we do have mesquite. For people who don't know, mesquite is a very dense wood, right? It's also very flammable, but it's also a tree. It starts as a bush, and it has nice long inch long thorns on it, and they are nice and sharp. I've been through them a few times. Okay, so yeah, even trying to trim a mesquite tree is you are going to get stuck. You're going to bleed for your activities sooner or later.
That's what Mexicans are for. That's what you want to do along your southern border. You don't build a wall. Plant groves of mesquite.
There are plenty of areas where it would grow if you could keep them, supplied. They will grow. I mean, it's an interesting thing. But there's a lot of palm and old type of palm trees out here as well. All right, that's everything that I've got. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream unless somebody else has something else that they wish to elaborate upon.
No.
Nope.
Nope. Good. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming up, and everybody have a good day, and happy Thanksgiving. Well, not happy Thanksgiving. What am I saying? A happy New Year. I'm still stuck in the seasons of the past.
Nomad's got Alzheimer's. Okay, you heard him, you lot.
All right.
It's over.
Later.